Welcome back to Worldwide Reds. How are we, everyone? We've got 5 in. We've got Vin making his debut, I think it is. Even though you were with Tom for a while, Vin's making his debut on Worldwide Reds, which is fantastic. Elliot's got a new name, Welsh Aussie Red Devils, so go and follow him on TikTok. And Alex is in the house, and I always call Tom the doctor because I love listening to him. How are we, boys? We've got some big news overnight with Balaba. Worldwide Reds have been saying it for a while that he is coming, but no one believed us. There's a lot of controversy around it between our fan base and everything like that. But how are we, and how are we all doing?
All good. It is the time of year we sort of look forward to. The World Cup was a good little bit of a distraction and helped pre-season move a little bit quicker, but 2 days out, or a couple of sleeps, and United are back at it. So regardless of the situation we find ourselves in, you can only be excited.
Definitely, man. Look, we've got Champions League on the horizon as well. It's Carrick's first season. There's a lot to look forward to, isn't there? Look, I know we've come into seasons before and we've been happy, jolly, and everything like that, and we've been punched down, but we're going to go into this season happy again, and we can't wait for it. 2 days' time. We're away. Pre-season's over, thank God. And what are we going to go? 8 months of football, hopefully 3 games a week, and we're in a lot of cup runs, and we have a good time. I know we'll be frustrated through the season, but hey, that's being a United fan, isn't it? So, how are we, Vin? All right, mate?
Yeah, doing good. Glad to be back. Thanks for having me here. Really looking forward to the season, especially after the roller coaster of last season. So I'll keep it really simple. All I'm expecting is a very optimistic performance from the team throughout the entire season, and we stick with the same manager by the end of it. That's my only ask because I'm just tired of everything else. So that's keeping it really simple. So yeah, if we do these, I'm quite sure we will finish up in a respectable position. Probably, you never know. Probably a couple of good cup runs as well.
Alex, get in there, son.
Hello. I'll do my best to. I think both you and I have copped a bit of a flu, cold, whatever Australia gives us these days at this time of the year. But yeah, good. Definitely the season's crept up on me. I feel it just like I knew that it was going to be a later start, and then I just obviously checked the calendar during the week, and then I'm like, oh shit, Prem's back this week already. I didn't realize we're already at the tail end of August, so it definitely crept up. But I've got cautious optimism going into the season. I'm not expecting anything drastic or crazy or anything, but I think just I think maybe a continuation of where we were last season. And I think, and obviously I know we'll touch on it a bit more later, but I do feel like it's maybe at least a second transfer window in a row, or like second summer window in a row, where I'm not panicking or biting my nails over who we've signed. And obviously we'll go into great detail, but it's the first time in a long time where back-to-back windows I'm actually relatively pleased with the moves we've made. So that's given me like a lot to look forward to.
Elliot, you are the transfer king, as I've learnt over the past 2 to 3 months. Elliot loves it. He watches it on Sky News and he pumps me with messages, and he's really got me involved in it over the past 2 to 3 months because at the end of the day, for me, I really didn't care. But I tell you, Elliot's got me involved big time. So, Elliot, give us your thoughts on the latest and what's happening, buddy.
Look, I mean, good to, I guess, catch up with everyone. I think just very strange timing that we're going live on a pod, and how well we've timed it with the Balaba signing overnight. Look, I think I'm feeling a lot better than probably what I was when I caught up with you and Tom last week. I think as a fan base, the club have delivered 3 midfielders to us, which I think is, regardless of who those 3 midfielders are, they've delivered 3 midfielders, and I think that's a huge positive. I'm feeling, I'm excited for Saturday. And we'll probably get into sort of how that looks. Obviously, no team is going to be fully ready for the season to start post a World Cup, and sort of first team players lacking minutes. But really excited. I think the transfer window is only going to heat up more over the next couple of weeks. Ezri Konsa's just signed for Arsenal. That's a huge signing, another statement signing for them. And I think when you make, the comparison to our champion winning seasons under Fergie, and he still wouldn't settle for the squad even after winning the league, and he'd go and sign Carlos Tevez up front after, winning a Premier League season. And Arsenal are just doing that at the moment. I think they're just the Gamera signing, the Konsa signing, they're just statement signings after just securing a league title. They're going to be tough to beat this year. So I'm really excited for the season, though. Lots of changes everywhere, and I think it is an open slather. So one that hopefully we can take advantage of.
Tom, I'm going to start with you over this. Balaba actually, it hasn't come through yet, the signing. United obviously hasn't announced it or anything, but Olstein did. Why do you think it's taken so long for us to get to – why has it taken so long to get to the end of the window and all of a sudden it's game on again? 100 million last year. It's 12-month agreement. Obviously, for me, 65 mil is perfect for him. Why do you think it has taken so long to get this deal over the line, if it gets over the line?
You never know. I think we do have to wait for the Amazon documentary at the end of the season, and there'll be a little bit of insight maybe. But I think it's one of those things in regards to, and I'm going through my own hassles of this with my neighbour in terms of organising a fence. They're just pulling their feet, or dragging their feet. They're not doing anything. If we go to Brighton, and Manchester go to Brighton and say, okay, do we agree on this fee? And Brighton say, yes, okay, we'll agree on that fee. They still have to put pen to paper. They still have to sign. They still have to do that end of the deal. If they drag out, what can you do? If United go and do everything in their power and say, okay, this is done, and everyone agrees, Brighton still need to do all the paper. I'm not saying this is down to paperwork, but in regards to they can drag it out, and dragging out that it sort of increases the price, or that can give them time to go and get a new player in. Carlos Balaba is obviously injured. That is a little bit of a spanner in this, which is sort of very typical of Man United. Obviously, fingers crossed it doesn't look anything serious, but it's interesting. I don't think it has taken that long. Usually we're a month into the season. We're 4 games into the season. Look at Casemiro and Anthony in terms of we're losing games. That's where we're bringing players on deadline day. I think it hasn't taken that long. Well, we've signed Tillemans, we've signed Andre Santos. What has dragged out, in my opinion, what has taken so long are the departures. There haven't been many in regards to the ones who we potentially are looking at getting money. But I think the speed of this is somewhat, it's not great. It's not sort of the perfect level of speed and sort of production, but ultimately 3 midfielders are in. That's what we all cried for. We'll get into the debate. Are they the midfielders we wanted? Are they the midfielders sort of we want going forward? Are they going to achieve the success? That's a debate for a little bit later. But what we wanted, we got.
Adam, you're
muted, Adam.
I'm muted. Definitely, Tom, definitely. It could even, for me, it could even be a case of, Brighton's trying to get their player. And I think a lot of people don't understand is how these things work. And, I'm in total agreement. People are going around saying it's a panic buy and everything like that. I firmly believe it's not. It's been on the table for a while. Sometimes these things do take a long time. I'm trying to stay positive for the club and for our fan base and everything like that. I'm trying to have faith in Ineos and doing the right thing by their fans, and like I do talk to a lot of people from around the world, and it does get frustrating listening to them going on about, they should have signed him at the start. They should have done this. They should have done that. People read too many papers, man.
No one's saying, no Arsenal fans are saying, we should have signed Bruno at the start. Whoever Liverpool are going to sign this week, we should have signed him at the start. Chelsea, whoever they're going to sign next week, we should have signed him at the start. It's one of those things, and all fans are guilty of it, and we're going to be guilty of it later, and we'll show our frustrations like that. But as Alex said earlier, I'm relatively happy with the business. We can get into the personnel. But in regards to really on paper, the little changes we called for in approach for a transfer window, approaching a window, again, it's not going to win us the Champions League. That's not where we are. But I do believe it is a good step in the right direction compared to a previous business.
I think on that as well, like, a year ago, because like you've been banging the drum, Adam, that we've agreed with Balaba for the better part of 12 months personally. It's just a matter of the clubs agreeing. And last season, Brighton wanted 110 million pounds, and we just said nah. And all right, it meant we had to just stick fat with Casemiro for another year, but worked out in the end. He still had a really good send off season, but more importantly, we showed the discipline to say no, we're not going to pay that much. Balaba's value did go down, and probably his head was turned. It is what it is. But on the flip side, we save ourselves 40-50 million, and we get the player that we want. So it's the discipline and the patience in negotiations, which I think is different to the previous regimes. And I'm not going to complain, especially if we save 40-50 mil, which can hopefully go to some other areas. But more importantly, we got the player and we didn't overpay, I don't think.
I've got a comment here from 2 seconds, Elliot. I've got a comment here from Dino. Do you think when you are rebuilding a team and building a whole new midfield from pretty much scratch, you want them ASAP, considering they knew this was happening?
Can I? Okay.
Or Alex? Yep, go for it.
I was going to say, I'm with him there. Like, I wish it would have been done earlier, but again, it's still like early enough where, because for the first month, you're only playing once a week. You're only going to do just the Premier League. The domestics and the Champions League and all that don't really kickstart until September. Like, we might have the League Cup, I think, coming up in a few weeks, but depending on the draw, you'd ideally be able to get away with that with the third or fourth string players. But like, I think for the first month we can stick it out with like between Mainu, Tillman, and Santos in that position. And by the time Balaba is ready, that's when it starts to get busy with the Champions League and everything like that. So, like, ideally, I would have loved for it to have been done a lot earlier, but it hasn't been left to the last second like previous signings. Like Tom mentioned earlier, it's none of this deadline day panicking and getting Casemiro and announcing at the last second. So, I think it's still early enough to have locked in Balaba, so we know we're going to have those four midfielders for when the season starts to pick up.
I think Dino makes a point. It's a common, like, it's quite common what Dino's saying and what I'm hearing and reading around and stuff like that. I'm not sure, like, I guess, it's not that I've read this anywhere, but I'm still not sure that maybe Balaba was top of the ladder in terms of targets. That Edison deal would have been our first midfield signing if whatever happened there didn't happen. So I'm still not sure that. I think the timing was as good as it was going to get, because I don't actually believe that he was probably number one target, because maybe we didn't believe that we were going to get him for a decent price after the debacle last season. Not sure. I still think, like, fundamentally from, I guess, and going sort of away from what Dean's point said, but also and talking more about the fee and stuff like that. I think our problem as a club in the past is we're paying these. When it's not just about the astronomical fees, it's about the contracts that players are agreeing, and I think that's where, as a club, we are improving and getting things right from a player perspective, and we've got a bit of we've got better fundamentals than what we've had in terms of what sort of contracts players are signed. I think Balaba's like 85 grand a week or something like that, with a release clause, option to extend for a year, 5-year deal. So, we don't want to be sort of in a position with someone like him in 5-6 years' time where we have this problem, which Tom has called out before, around selling players. That's where we do need to improve, is the slowness in getting players out the door that don't really fit the profile, because these types of contracts that they're on, it's not a lucrative move for them. So, we are improving and we are growing, and we're certainly making some tweaks and fine-tuning things that are sort of helping us, I believe. And I still believe that from the Balaba perspective, there's debates around what profile of player he is and that sort of stuff. I actually don't believe that he has a profile yet. He's still growing as a player. Is he a box-to-box number 8, or is he a deep ball-winning number 6? I've heard different opinions around that too. So I think that is an exciting part for us, is that he will grow as a player as we grow as a club. So overall, I think, as a fan base, we should be quite satisfied with this one.
I think
Vim?
I think we can all speculate why this didn't happen and why it happened pretty late or pretty early in terms of how we dealt with some of the transfers in the past. So we could either speculate that we were putting all our money in Mason Mount being our midfielder, but Mason Mount's characteristics means he's never going to be available, and we were focusing on a left back, right? And that didn't work out, and Mason Mount's injured, so we had to put all our eggs into the midfield basket. There could be a lot of scenarios, and clubs sometimes, they don't just respond to if someone's placing a transfer request or if you're sending an offer, it's up to the club's decision when they respond and when they're not. And probably now the news have been released when there's some kind of agreement between the clubs. So it could be these two clubs are working on agreements, disagreements, negotiations for the last 1 month, and we would never know about it. And to be quite honest, I was a bit frustrated and annoyed with the lack of movement as well. I had conversations with Tom saying like, oh, the club needs to have more ambition. We need to sign players because definitely it's going to be a 60-game season and we need more numbers. And I kind of do understand where Dean's coming from with his comments. Like, yeah, we need numbers. We need players to come in and bed in. But sometimes it doesn't work, and it doesn't work as per the timings that we expect. So at the end of the day, the player is still not at the door, so he might be coming to United, and that's a good positive sign. And we are still sticking to the price we want to pay for him, which is not bad for a 21-year-old midfielder who have like at least 15 years of his career to go with. So really looking forward to it. But there are always two sides to it. In any deal, it could have happened earlier. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. So yeah, that's my take on it.
It's also for me, the thing I love about it, whether it happens or not, well, I want it to happen definitely, is it's just about a 10-year investment. Like the guy's, what is he, 21, 22? Like imagine building on that, our midfield building on that. Our oldest player in that midfield now is Bruno Fernandes. You know what I mean? So Bruno Fernandes looks like he's probably going to be gone in the next couple of years. For me, hopefully not. I'd like Bruno to stay and get these younger players to have his mindset and move our team forward in the way he plays. I think it's great. I just can't wait to see this signing. Hopefully, Dino said it could be a deadline day deal, which I think it probably will be, and it'll be our marquee signing. But I hope it's earlier. I really hope it's earlier. And so we get that in, and then maybe we look at a left back or something like that. I would love to see two more. I would love to see him. But like I said, 10 years with him and the rest of the Kobe Mainu, Santos, Tillemans. Well, Tillemans is what? How old's Tilleman? 29? So he's there for he's there for at least another 4 years. So it's exciting for Manchester United fans. Manchester United fans should be getting excited about this season now. You know what I mean? Stop with all the rubbish. Embrace what's going on. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about if this signing happens here over the weekend or something like that. Brilliant. You know what I mean? So, Tom, anything else to add?
Well, just on that in regards to, I remember you say 10-year investment. Cast your mind back 10 years when we were going after Luke Shaw, and it was around £30 million, I think, for Luke Shaw, sort of thing, or in and around that. Was it more than that? I forget. So someone correct me, the Luke Shaw price. And you're thinking, oh, God, it's a lot of money for a left-back unproven. But then you broke it down in regards to, well, we're going to have him for the next 10 years. Now we can debate the 10 years. Has he been good or not? But then you say, well, it's only $3 million a season or something for the potentially best left-back. sort of thing. Depends how you do look at it. And I think that's a naive way to look at a football transfer from a fan's point of view, because Balaba might be brilliant. He might be public enemy number one by Christmas, and we might say wasted money. Time will tell. But you do look at that, and especially the way, let's say, Ineos or the football department are moving in regards to the transfer business. They are looking at younger players, because if it doesn't go well, you can obviously move them on. I don't want to move on Aiden Heaven, but you can see that potentially is the greatest business Ineos have done, because you get him. If we wanted to sell Aiden Heaven now, fingers crossed that's not the case, you'd go for 70 million. Not that United would do that, but that any other club would get 70, 80 million for Aiden Heaven in terms of what he has shown in a United shirt and his age. So the business United are doing, again, is it the business that goes and wins Premier League titles, or is it the business that gets us into a good platform to do that? I'm not sure. But I mentioned Luke Shaw in the left back and the investment, and Balaba, and then the investment. Andy Mitten has been banging the drum. This is not like inside knowledge from Andy Mitten or anything, but he's still banging the drum that Lewis Hall wants to come to Manchester United. Now, I don't think it's going to happen off the back of what has happened to Newcastle this window. They're just not going to sell anyone else. But if United were saying, okay, we're confident with this is a good midfield, look next door at Manchester City's midfield. This is the first time in 10 years I can tell you we have a better midfield than Man City, 100%. Now, they can invest, they can bring someone in that could change my opinion. Suddenly, we're the best midfield in Manchester. Our attack is good. Our attack is going to score goals. We've got a good goalkeeper. If we could fix fullback or improve, I'm not saying Premier League title, but it does show that what Vin mentioned there in regards to that ambition. I'm telling you, if we went and the money is there and you go put 70, 80 million down for Lewis Hall, is he worth it? I'm not sure. But I could see United potentially doing that. And he's going to cost a lot of money. I think that you could get someone from Spain. I think that one or two names in the left-back department from Spain are on the cards as well for around 20 or 30 million, which is obviously maybe more appealing business. But I do see a situation off this bit of a feel-good vibe. Ineos could pull the trigger on Lewis Hall. If he does, he probably have to ask for a transfer request probably, and that's not going to go down well in Newcastle. But I think that's that's where the attention does turn for fans now in regards to the next bit of investment, because, okay, that's great. We've got Balaba. We're football fans. We need a new toy tomorrow. There's still transfer business to be done. There's still the shop's open. You might as well buy something. And I think we will still be calling for something. And if that pressure does mount, which it will, left back is still that issue. And I think it is Lewis Hall who they want. I don't think they're going to get it done, just the way the cards are dealt, the way they've fallen this window. But if I had the dream sign in a left back, I'd be asking United very kindly to go get that done, mainly just to piss off Newcastle fans.
I do think as well, if I can just piggyback off what you were saying, Tom, like on City, because you boys know, obviously, I was big on Ali Anderson, but as much as I think he's a wonderful player, again, if you look at like needs, and if we compare us to City, Ali Anderson is 116 million. That's for one player. We spent a little bit more than that for three players, which is perfect for us because we needed several midfielders, especially after Ugarte got injured. And with Lewis Hall, because obviously he's back on mine as the left back that I would love. I think most asking a United fan, that's the left back that any United fan says they want. He potentially could come just by virtue of the fact that, and this is just my personal opinion and my read on it, is I actually think Newcastle are a candidate to go down. And I think Newcastle may want to cash in on Hall now to prepare themselves for the drop or for the risk of the drop, rather than be in that situation.
I'd love that. They're not going to go. They're not going to drop that. I'd love that.
I don't think they will.
I'll take Newcastle relegation over a United title, but I don't think they'll drop that far.
I think honestly, I don't know. I think I've been chatting with a few mates. All of us, they'll be in that sort of that zone because they weren't really far off for the last season, and it's not just a matter of the quality of their squad. It's the genuine, let's say, the mass exodus that's happened in that club and the instability to have lost their two best players, their two midfielders, the manager. Obviously, they haven't been able to adequately replace Isak. They've lost Gordon as well, haven't really adequately replaced him. Uncertainty around this manager. I could be so wrong, and I could have egg on my face, and it is what it is. But just looking at it from outside looking in, it's just
he would have to force. It would have to be a transfer request, and does he do that? Because he's a Newcastle fan. He's a Newcastle boy. And I just think I'd be shocked. I'd love it with everyone. I agree. I just think there's a lot of moving parts, and they're going to have to fall in our favour.
Where do we go to with our 9? I've got Dino here. I would take Ivan Toney as a backup 9, considering our 9 has disappeared. What has happened to Sesko, man? What has happened? And I've also got here Justin Galea, Harry Kane on deadline day. Heard it here first.
I wish.
What has happened to Sesko? Where do we go with this? And do we prioritise a striker instead of a left back? Like
He's got a back problem, doesn't he?
No, I think it's a foot. Oh, mate, to be honest with you, I don't really know.
I thought it was back.
Know. It is a
but
back.
In saying
Jesus.
that, I think in terms of we've got players who can. The club believe we've got players who can fill that position that we've already got. Right, you've seen Bremo play there. Sort of throughout pre-season, we've seen Cunha play in that position. Last season, Rashford's around. He can sure as shit play a number 9. I guess Xerxes has played there during the pre-season as well. I just think that not that we've got a like-for-like option, but we've got players who can do a job. Too many players who can do a job for us there, for the club to actually decide that that's a priority. Although I think as a fan base, we want like-for-like goal scorer, poacher, Ivan Toney. You could probably get him for a reasonable price. He's a proven goal scorer. He's got Premier League proven record as well. I think there's a possibility that, but I've not read anything about it, but I know a lot of people are saying go and get Ivan Toney. I just think we've got too many players who can do a job for us there.
Vin?
Yeah, the backup striker I would have loved is Danny Welbeck, and he's a Chelsea player now, so that's a disappointment. It's really funny and weird with Seshko that he's been injured for a quite number of times since he signed for us, and his I'm not sure if his injury timeline when he was with RB Leipzig is the same. So I really hope that Ineos had done their due diligence when we signed him. So hopefully this is just a one-off bad injury that's coming back to hurt him every time and again. Ivan Toney is a good shout, especially I would love him, and especially now we have Betway as our partner, as our training sponsor, so that might suit him. Otherwise, sorry, the other one, get some free bets as part of his contract signing. He would be highly appreciative of that. But jokes aside, I think we should go for Ollie Watkins. I know he's going for a big money signing it towards the Saudi League, but I wouldn't mind Ollie Watkins playing a backup striker. Probably, by the way, Sesko's injury record is going, he might be our primary striker. And given Sesko didn't play any of our preseason, he didn't play the last few games of our last season, and also he didn't. I mean, there was no World Cup, for his country. So it's really annoying at the same time. It's a bit mysterious, why it keeps happening. We keep hearing stories about how Sesko looks after his own health and how he rehabilitates himself after every single training and game session. So it's really need to figure out what's going on. Otherwise, this will he might be missing half of the season every season if this is going to be the pattern and the trend that we've been seeing. Sheshko, get well soon, mate. We really need an out-and-out striker to lead the line.
It's a shame this has happened to him, and Dino's just reminded me when it did happen. And I enjoyed watching Sesko last year, and I don't want it to be a situation where we thought it was his back, it was a shin problem. You would think it's like shin splints or something like that, just assuming that's what it is. And it's a shame that that little bit of fitness around that shin splint area, because my kids used to have that. It's not a good injury, man. That's shocking. It comes back and forth. So hopefully he gets well soon, and we can see him banging in some goals. But agree, man. Look, I would like to see us bring in another 9, like a Watkins, but the price tag on Watkins is going to be a bit in it. Like Ineos ain't going to be throwing 60 million at him. Do you think it'd be around 60 mil for him?
For
I don't know.
What is he, 29?
Ollie Watkins. Yeah.
Might be a bit less.
Yeah.
what's left on his contract?
I'm not sure. Wouldn't have a clue. Elliot's a
I
man
think
for
he's
that.
got 2 years left on his contract.
Oh,
Yeah, he
really?
wouldn't have any more than that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
I'm gonna
29.
check.
He's 29. He was linked to Arsenal last year as well. You know, I think if you look at what we paid
2 years.
him,
2 years, yeah. Everything's right.
he's probably a 45, 50 mil, maybe.
That's not
Yeah,
bad, you know.
Why don't we give them Rashford and take Ollie
That's
Watkins?
the name, Vin. That's what everyone forgets.
Fuck, Vin, stop saying
it's
that.
like-
And I knew
it's
Tom
like
would
I
jump
always
straight into that.
Well, it's one of the things like, until someone says Mason Mount, I forget, even when Mason Mount's playing, I forget Mason Mount's an option. Not that he's an option now, but just halfway through the season, oh yeah, Mason Mount plays for United. He could potentially play this week. Rashford's he's going to be that one this week, this season for United. He's not going. Maybe something that is a deadline day sign for someone potentially. I still think Arsenal are involved in a Marcus Rashford discussion later on in the window. But Rashford is going to be that.
Can you imagine
The
a
overlap was
Garnacho
saying,
and Rashford?
You see that the overlap was saying Rashford for Mosley or Scully. That's our left back.
Well, Lewis Skelly, the Arsenal CEO, I believe, could be someone different, but I believe it's the CEO, Richard Garlick from Arsenal. He had a sit-down interview with someone, and they asked him about Ethan Wanyeri, and Miles Lewis Skelly said, "Are you planning to sort of sell your academy product? Is that a business model? Sort of you looking?" I think they were discussing what's happening at Chelsea. And he was pretty adamant. He didn't come out and say, no, they're staying. He said, look, we don't want to sell them, but if an offer comes in for them, that's obviously very good business for Arsenal. So I'm just thinking, Lewis Skelly, it's weird because all Arsenal fans say play him. He played in the Champions League final. He was very good in the Community Shield by all reports against Manchester City. But if you do look what is coming into Arsenal and what their sort of strongest 11 looks like on paper, he's not really in there. So is he at the stage of his career he wants to go and do that? Is he going to do that at United? I'm not sure. Maybe he could be the left back, but he came through Arsenal as a midfielder.
He prefers that position in midfield, doesn't he? Like you could tell.
Well, that's a little bit of a detractor from United. Is he going to come in and play Man United's midfield? I don't think so, especially with the investment we've had in there. So it's interesting. But look, that's Lewis Skelly and that's Marcus Rashford. But back to the Manchester United, and they are a little bit intertwined, which I'm sure will sort of heat up in the coming days. But in regards to that number 9 position back at United, at the moment, it's the only option. I do think the priority has to be left back because you have a £350,000 a week striker there who's probably going to wear the number 9 shirt. We all thought 14, but it looks like he's going to be wearing the number 9 shirt. And you cannot have him on the bench. Hey, he'll be starting on the bench, but you can't have that just sitting there, whether Carrick likes it or not. It's like Ange Postecoglou. He doesn't want to play Cristiano Ronaldo. He's going to be starting every week for one reason, because who he is. Marcus Rashford's going to get on the field every week because who he is. And the contract
he's wearing
is on.
Bobby Charlton's number now.
We may as well.
Remember that, Tom.
If we're going to pay him that much, if we're going to pay him that much money, and no one wants to sign him because no one wants to take on those wages, fair enough. You may as well use him.
No, you have to use it. You have to do it.
He'd be handy. I'm not saying I'm not expecting like crazy numbers, but he'd be useful. Just at least like last half an hour, some speed, shooting ability, bit of some.
The stage is set for him. It can go well for Rashford, but we do have concerns. Of course, it's there for him to take.
Yeah, you might as well use
He's already calling out pundits on Twitter after the overlap episode. He's already calling Jamie Carragher out on Twitter, isn't he? So
no, I think he was thanking Carragher.
He said thank you.
Yeah, in a bit of a smart ass sort of way.
Yeah, but I don't mind.
That's how I read it anyway. But I think
Adam,
he's always going to get that spotlight, isn't he? And I think he'd prefer to go about his game. But it's like a Beckham story, isn't it?
Yeah. I think I'm with Tom and most of the fans anyway, where like, yeah, if I had to pick, I'd go left back because Shaw gets injured, which is likely. I don't like the idea of Luke Shaw playing 3 times a week. Like, we can maybe chuck Dorgu there. I don't know about Dorgu in a back four, but yeah, I'm not confident in our left back or our fullback slots as I am with our attacking slots, and I definitely do not want to see Dallo there. Dallo left back is a disaster. So I would much rather we get a left back before we get a striker. We can do both, fantastic.
Do we back Harry and Mass to play in that left back position in cup games? I think we do. Oh, look, even this weekend against Hull, do you think it's a game where you could start Harry and Mass? Not that would happen, but mate, I read today that Hull lost 15 games last season. How the hell are they even in the Premier League? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
Is this a situation where it's like I dare not say it, like Grimsby or something like that, where, you know, I worry about that. But, like, is it a situation where we could start a Harry and Mass and give Luke Shaw the week off to play maybe the following week or get him ready for City in 2 weeks' time, 3 weeks' time?
I wouldn't. I think opening day, you just want to play your best 11 that's available, and just sort of like stamp your foot down, establish yourself, sort of show that authority before you sort of, I don't know. And I think it's a lot for a young player like Amas to be thrown into that sort of situation. I think just maybe if you're going to debut him, do it in a game where there's maybe like, let's say, less pressure, less ice, sort of give him that breathing space.
I think he is also, if there is a departure, and that's not a departure that's going to catch the eye and bring in £50 million, but it does sound like United are really actively trying to get rid of him because there's interest, and the interest is Championship. Now, I'm not saying that's his level. I'm not starting him against Hull. And look, Adam, you know me, I love nothing more than academy products coming through.
Yeah.
I just don't see it. I'll see it in other players who probably don't go on to have the career Harry and Mass will. The stage is set for him to prove me wrong, but I think you just had to wait to the discussion we're having around left back. We're playing our Mass. We're playing Shaw.
I watched Harry really closely against AC Milan last week, and he was getting outplayed a fair bit on that left-hand side, and he was getting beaten. And was it against Sam or PSG? Was it PSG we played as well? I think it was against PSG, and it was PSG. He was getting ripped. He got ripped like 3 or 4 times in that game, and it seemed easy. Like it was just a matter of pushing that ball a foot forward, and he was getting beaten for pace. So, I think we really need to look at that position. Dino in here was saying about we may as well say Ahmed's a defender. Well, he basically is with Delo, so just to correct you on that. Anyway, let's move forward. I want to talk about the Premier League. We've got Hull this weekend. I want to enter your minds on expectations for our season ahead. And let's start with FA Cup, Carabao Cup. What are your expectations? How far do you think we can go? And do you think we can win either of these competitions? Vin, let's start with you.
All right. So quarterfinals in both the domestic trophies is what I would actually expect. I would want us to win the Carabao Cup because even though we won that pretty recently, it still feels like, I think 4 years ago. 4 years by the time we'll play the anyone who plays the final. So I would really want us to say us win Carabao Cup in case if we get to the finals. Other than that, my domestic my season prediction was already like just stick with the same manager and qualify for Champions League next season. And Champions League, just get out of the group stage and the round of 32, and that will be kind of a, I would say, success as compared to it. I know we are a big club. We should be aiming for the finals, titles. People will say all those, but let's be sensible. Let's be realistic. We haven't played in the Champions League for like 3 seasons. We haven't played in a Europe for like this is our first season in Europe, like after 2 seasons, I guess. Yeah, so let's. I don't want to go over optimistic. Just going to be cautious, and be balanced in what I expect this team to deliver this season. Yeah, of course, of course. Given we haven't made top 4 so many times in the last 10 seasons, I know I'm okay being in top 4 rather than being in 15th and 17th. So,
are you reading
yeah.
Dino's comment? Are you?
Yeah. I just read his comment, and I'm like, oh yeah, very well. We need the money. We seriously need the money if we want consistent investment into the training academies, because our owners are never going to spend money, right? They are never going to put money into the club. They always make use of the revolving credit facility and what other financial loopholes. So the only way we can be rich is by playing good football and by qualifying for Champions League and by winning trophies. So we could only do what the players are in control of. We are not in control of what the Glazers can do, what Ineos can do. So that's another reason why we need to consistently qualify for Champions League year after year. That will kind of make us a bit rich, and consistent investments will follow every other year. So yeah, looks a bit unambitious, but we need it in the longer run.
Alex?
Yeah, probably same. I would love a good cup run. Maybe semis for the Carabao, if not all the way. Probably quarters for the FA Cup. Just want to see not get knocked out off the bat, basically, but go deep in both those competitions. Champions League, I would like the knockouts. Obviously depends on the draw, and Champions League is weird with the whole phases. But if we can get to knockouts or even that playoff thingy, like just past that league phase, that'd be good. But again, depends who we verse. So obviously, I have to wait and see. Because you could get some, bumfuck team from Poland, or you could get PSG and Barcelona, in which case you cooked. So obviously that depends. And league, it's not just top 4, although yes, the consistency of Champions League is good, but also I want to piggyback off of last season and push again for second or third, not just because I think it establishes ourselves in that sort of tier, but also I think this is a good time to do it, because there's just so much uncertainty around every team barring Arsenal. I don't want to roll over to Arsenal. I want to still push them, give them a bit of a nudge, get them looking over their shoulder a little bit. But I suppose with the expectation they're just too good to not win the league. I still want us to push them to a decent level and go for that second or third spot, just to give us the confidence and again build some momentum off of what we've done for the last 8 months since we got Carrick.
Young Elliot.
Young Elliot. Matt, I think a couple of things to call out last year. Last year was a very quiet season for us, and we did pretty well, and we finished third on 71 points. I think we're going into a busier fixture season, so I do think we need to be a bit realistic with what our expectations are. I know not all of us United fans are realistic, and we do always set the bar high, and we certainly should based on our club's history. But and one thing to comment on, we only need to improve by 10 to 12 points in the league this season to probably put ourselves in a title race. Now, in the grand scheme of things, that's not too much to ask. I guess it's our struggle. Challenge this year is about balancing the squad and the busier fixture lists. We need to be getting into quarters, semi-finals for both cups, minimum. Winning one of them, ideally, would just keep everyone happy, I think, at the end of the season. Quarterfinals from a Champions League perspective, I think, again, minimum of where we should be looking. I think this is the first time that we've played in this new format. So, look, I haven't dived too much into the Champions League because I've not had to up until now. But I know we play, what is it, two or four more fixtures than what we did in the previous format. And there's probably, some extra away games in this. There's probably a bit more travel involved. So balancing that heavy load is going to be tricky. And I think the only way that you balance that heavy load is add the left back, add that number 9. So let's hope that we can. And I think for the league, we don't need to put a place on it, but I just think we just need to qualify for the Champions League again. Because of, the income stream that brings the club and it brings into the club. And I'm pretty sure top 5 will qualify for the Champions League again this season. So we need to be aiming for qualifying again, bringing that revenue in, because I think that's how we can still be able to progress season on season. I'm excited. I'm hopeful. We're not going to be getting a lot of sleep as Australian Mancunians this year. Early mornings, midweek, late nights on the weekend. Hopefully a few more Saturday games. I'm excited. I can't wait for heaps of football.
I had to stand up. I was getting a cramp. So I had to stand up. But, mate, we wouldn't have it any other way. I don't think the rest of the world understands what times we get up. But you know what? Oh, Elliot, I was just listening to you boys then talk about the season ahead. And Premier League, I want to see us. What did we finish third? I think definitely. Like, we get these signings in. Balaba comes in and maybe we get that one more. Dino thinks being sarcastic, saying 4 signings in January, which definitely won't happen. But I'm excited for the season ahead. Like, I really can see us. Look, Arsenal going to take a lot of stopping, but I tell you what, if you look at even when we haven't had the greatest sides, we have challenged these big, the top sides like Arsenal and City, Liverpool. Last year we done it. Now, if we have a good start to the season, I don't know, like last year, if we had situations against Arsenal where we probably should have taken a draw, and we had games that were very tight where we should have taken the 3 points. You know what? As soon as Carrick comes in, we started winning. I think he lost 1 game from the time he came in. I definitely think we can go on those runs again. I can't see why not. I don't believe it's going to be a strong season this year through other teams. But if United can take advantage of it, far out, it's going to be an entertaining season for United fans, and it's about time. So, I'm looking forward to it. But what about a Champions League run? Where do you see us on that, Tom?
I think for me, I'll just, whether I incorporate FA Cup, Champions League, Carabao Cup, Premier League, for the last 10 years since we've not been winning titles, whenever you get this question at the start of the season, what's your expectation or what's a successful season? Mine is a generic answer. Qualify for the Champions League, win a trophy. Carabao Cup, FA Cup, get Champions League football, win a trophy. That's my successful season. The expectation is probably in and around that, qualify for the Champions League. And the trophy is, do you get Burnley at home in the first round of the FA Cup, or do you get Manchester City away? It's so up in the air in regards to evaluating the success in a tournament. You could have a really easy run, which we sometimes do get in the Carabao Cup. Fingers crossed that's the case. But if you get drawn away at one of the big hitters, it's sometimes the flip of a coin. The way I would value or weigh up success for this season, though, in regards to I've had a bit of a different approach to this one. A good season for me is a season where we're not talking about is Carrick getting the sack. I just want a season where we're talking about starting 11s, or we're talking about referee decisions, where we're talking about this player, we're talking about this spot on the ladder. We're not talking about do you want to keep Carrick? If we sack him, who do you bring in to replace him? I just want a season where it's just when Sir Alex Ferguson, I'm not comparing him, but when Sir Alex Ferguson was manager, did you ever think about Sir Alex Ferguson? I never thought about him once. He was just there. You never thought about the position of manager. It was just the players on the field. And I think
they did in the first 6 years, Tom.
I wasn't around for those 6 years.
Stability is what it is.
But I just want a season where because I love every manager that comes in, but especially Michael Carrick. There is obviously a little bit more of a connection there, and I just want a season where we're talking about football and not who's the Manchester United's next manager. The merry-go-round continues. So, in regards to your initial question, in regards to Champions League, I think it's impossible. Has a big hitter, has a big club ever not made it out of that new group stage? I don't think so. I think once one of the teams finished in 23rd or 24th, and then PSG ended up winning it. I think
City have struggled, but that's because they would.
But everyone goes through. It's impossible. I'm telling you, it is impossible. Now, what United do it now.
I think City
get knocked out.
I think City ended up in like that weird qualifying thing.
Yeah, but they go through.
But then they go get Madrid. So no, well, they end up getting knocked out by Madrid. So it is what it is.
But in the initial group stage, no one goes
favoured
out.
for the big.
You have to lose every game.
It's favoured for the big sides, definitely.
Well, you want United to finish as high up as possible, but I'm pretty confident United go through.
Beautiful.
It's top 8 in that league phase. So I guess the question on Champions League is...
No, it's top 24.
So top 8 automatic and then top 24 going up.
Yeah, well,
so I guess it's like...
I guess the concern is...
I guess the concern is, are we top 16 in the world? I'd like to think we are.
Yeah.
I'd like to think we are, but then I guess the worry is like a City in 2025 where they go into that luck of the draw. Like if they go that 9 to 16 and then they draw Madrid, good luck with that. That's the concern. So I think Champions League is just going to be a tough ask because there's just a lot of good European teams, but I guess that's where my expectation is that top 16 or top 24, just so we can at least sort of hang around the big boys and not sort of just get bounced out, essentially. But also as well, luck of the draw doesn't necessarily mean anything when we got knocked out by Grimsby last season in the AFL, so really got to take it with a pinch of salt.
I'm worried about the weekend's game, let me tell you.
Don't say that.
You're always worried.
I do. I'm very nervous before most games. Anyway, boys,
excited. It's 9:30 on a Saturday night. It's a good time.
It's a good time. On that note, look, we've gone just short of an hour. I think we've covered a lot, which is fantastic. So what I'm going to do is I'll throw this to Tom. I've got the poster here. Tom, give it a shout out.
Yeah, Saturday night for anyone in Sydney. It's it doesn't get better for a Sydney Manchester United fan. 9:30 on a Saturday night. You do have to take advantage when they do come around. Very rare, especially with Manchester United. Most of the games in the UK they moved to Sunday, which is we're just discussing there. Usually a Monday morning for us here. So prime time 9:30 p.m. kickoff. These games are always packed, always busy, and look, it's the start of the season. Like you're going to be there. Fingers crossed, and Manchester United win, and every fan is as deluded as me. You start looking at something about top of the table. Then you start looking, if someone drops points today, well, we're above them. We've got a bit of a head start. Fingers crossed we can win our last. It's interesting. I think me and Vin were discussing a couple of weeks ago. I think even the Man United social media team put it out. The last time we started a season away from home, Jose Mourinho's first season, away at Bournemouth. We've been at Old Trafford every single opening day of the season for a while. So last time we started on the road, we did get a win and we won 2 trophies. I'm not going to say that's going to happen again, but definitely looking forward to it and catching up with a few people, have a few beers. And look, Adam, I know you're nervous and sometimes these games are sometimes the banana skin, but Manchester United are better than Hull. If Manchester United turn up and perform, we win, we go top of the table. So fingers crossed, but I'm keen.
Yeah, we've got the young Aussie boy too who signed for Hull as well. Is it Harrington?
Yeah,
Harrington. Yeah.
So hopefully he gets a start or in that squad, or at least gets on the bench, which will be fantastic. And good luck to him. You know. But I've got there was a few boys in the TikTok chat from Melbourne, Western Australia. I think there was a couple from Brisbane as well. So anyone in the chat there from Sydney, go and watch it at Scruffy Murphy's. I've also got the Brisbane one here, Brisbane Manchester United supporters Club, new venue, new era, launch night, kickoff 9:30 p.m, lucky door prizes, food provided, United v Hull. Join us at their new home, Pig and Whistle, South Bank. Elliot will be there, won't you, mate?
I will 100% be there. Absolutely. Yeah. I'll go down, catch up with Dino, Keith, and a few of the other guys. So, yeah, it'd be good. They do a great job down there at Brisbane Supporters Club. So, hopefully we get a few more nights this year where kickoff times are quite advantageous and we can have a few more, good nights. And probably last season, they were a bit few far in between with the Europa League pushing games to Sunday night. So, looking forward to it. They always do a good job, and it's a great venue. I've been to that South Bank Pig and Whistle when it was the James Squire Charm Squire Brewery, and it's a great open plan venue. It makes for a great atmosphere when the game's on. So, looking forward to it.
We've got one of the boys in the TikTok chat there. He says, where is the Melbourne place to watch United games? They don't actually have an official supporters club, but if you message me privately, I'll be able to get you the venue where they do catch up because I often talk to them. So messages on TikTok. I want to thank all the boys that joined us tonight. Dr. Tom, Alex, Vin, and Welsh Aussie Red Devils. Go follow all the boys. Elliot's starting his own channel on TikTok at the moment, so we can go regularly live on TikTok on their platform. I actually want to thank TikTok tonight for not suspending us. They finally learned that we actually do go live from this. Thank you to all the Aussie boys and everyone that are in TikTok. Dino, as usual. Yoni that came on. Who else was in there? I think... who else was in there? Dino, as always. Justin Galea was in there as well. So thank you for everyone for supporting us all the time. To the guys on TikTok, we are on YouTube. That's why we don't get to your comments. So if you want to follow us on YouTube, definitely get over there. We're coming up towards 600 followers. We're coming up to 7,100, I think, on TikTok now. So we're doing really well there. And so we'll talk to you later. See you later. Check yes. Come on, United.
Thanks, mate.
Come on, boys.